In the day's other news, a federal jury in Grand Rapids, Michigan acquitted 2 men of plotting to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The verdict came after 4.5 days of deliberations. Jurors could not reach verdicts for 2 other defendants, and the judge declared a mistrial. That leaves them subject to being tried again. The 4 allegedly conspired to abduct Whitmer in 2020. We'll get details later in the broadcast. A second member of the extremist group Proud Boys pleaded guilty today in the riot at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th last year. Charles Donahoe admitted to plotting to stop Congress from certifying the presidential election results. He agreed to aid in other investigations, which could lighten his sentence. And this was a day of celebration at the White House, marking Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation to the U.S. Supreme Court. On the South Lawn today, President Biden and the nation's first black female vice president, Kamala Harris, joined Jackson, who's now set to become the first black woman on the high court.
I could see it as a day of hope, a day of promise, a day of progress, a day when once again the moral arc of the universe, as Barack used to quote all the time, bends a little more toward justice.
It has taken 232 years and 115 prior appointments for a black woman to be selected to serve on the Supreme Court of the United States.
Jackson will take the oath of office later this year when Justice Stephen Breyer officially retires. In Israel, security forces have shot and killed a Palestinian man who they say killed 3 people in Tel Aviv late Thursday. Surveillance video showed the suspect walking down crowded streets. Later, chaos erupted when the gunman opened fire at a bar. Police said he did not belong to any organized militant group. It was the 4th deadly attack in Israel in less than 3 weeks. Pakistan's embattled prime minister today criticized a Supreme Court ruling in that country that blocked him from dissolving parliament. But he said he will accept it. The ruling cleared the way for a vote of no confidence in the government tomorrow. Prime Minister Imran Khan spoke this evening in a national TV address.
The verdict disappointed me. Foreign hands were involved in the no confidence vote in Pakistan. I was expecting from Pakistan's Supreme Court that at least they should have considered this. This was a very serious allegation.
The Prime Minister also said he will not recognize any opposition government. He called for supporters to protest on Sunday, but peacefully. France is headed toward a presidential election on Sunday, and a far-right candidate is surging in the polls. Marine Le Pen claimed momentum in her final appearances, while President Emmanuel Macron has said the pandemic in Ukraine delayed his efforts. They spoke on the final day of campaigning.
What is true is that I campaigned late. First, that's normal for an incumbent president, and then the circumstances were constrained.
The French will vote, and we will follow their vote. So, of course, I think not only I'll be in the second round, but that I can win this presidential election.
If the polls are correct, Macron and Le Pen will meet in a runoff later this month, as they did back in 2017. More cities in China tightened pandemic restrictions today as a COVID outbreak there accelerated. And in Shanghai, 3 officials were fired amid complaints that a lockdown is causing food shortages. Total cases in the city have passed 100,000 since the outbreak started last month. Shanghai is converting gyms and exhibition halls into isolation centers with no end in sight for the pandemic. Meantime, back in this country, Alabama's governor signed into law one of the most far-reaching measures yet to block medical treatment for transgender children. It would imprison doctors for up to 10 years for prescribing puberty blockers or hormone treatments for trans youths under the age of 19. Other Republican-controlled states have adopted related laws. And the Motion Picture Academy banned actor Will Smith today from attending the Oscars or any other Academy events for 10 years. It's punishment for slapping comedian Chris Rock at last month's Oscars telecast after Rock told a joke about Smith's wife. Smith said he respects the decision, and he had already resigned from the Academy. On Wall Street today, stocks wobbled on worries about interest rates and inflation. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 137 points to close at 34,721. But the Nasdaq fell 186 points, down 1%, and the S&P 500 slipped 12 points. And SpaceX has launched the first private charter flight to the International Space Station. The Falcon rocket blasted off today from Kennedy Space Center in Florida with 3 wealthy businessmen and an astronaut escort. The businessmen paid $55 million each for a 1-week stay. Russia has hosted tourists at the station for decades. Still to come on the NewsHour, conventional economists' warnings of cryptocurrency's volatility grow louder. And David Brooks and Jonathan Capehart weigh in on the week's political news. The Minneapolis-based theater debuts a play about race and policing, plus much more.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.